not only did I have a lot of other people on my team that were far better in not only production, building, just overall, I just had to let out my vulnerability.
Alrighty, welcome back to the How to Sell Insurance podcast. I am joined by my good buddy, Mr. Ryan Federico. I am Grant Lieber, and we have a really cool guest, another Ryan, a very special friend of mine, Mr. Ryan Miller of the Ryan Miller Master Agency, someone who has been an incredible friend, mentor, business partner to me for now going on 8 years, someone who has built a massive agency doing millions of dollars a month of annual premium, and someone who has developed tons and tons of leadership within his organization. We're really excited for this opportunity to chat, Ryan.
Well, hi, Grant. Hi, Ryan. Thanks for the invitation. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. He's the Ryan that did it better, by the way. So,
Oh, well, there's some commonalities that you and I share right now. I
There
mean,
are.
there's the
We will-
beard.
we'll let you tell us all the commonalities that you can see.
Okay, I see. Okay,
Put it in the comments.
yeah, let's see that.
So diving right into this, I want to talk about the culture that you've created within your agency.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm within your agency, so I've been a part of this culture, but I just want to understand, like, maybe just big picture, what's your idea behind, like, how you want people to interact with each other, how you want leaders to treat people, like what culture do you want to have?
So it's interesting, 9.5 years, a little over 9.5 years now since I've been in this industry. And I actually didn't know exactly what I want because I was brand new in insurance. I had absolutely no idea what kind of environment I was in. I had no idea what to expect. I mean, came from a corporate America kind of background. So when I got into this, I didn't realize how diversified when you're working with all these people, the different types of personalities, the different backgrounds, and somehow we're supposed to create this cultural environmental glue. And I'm sitting here going, it's like a Jenga board or a Rubik's cube. It's like, how can we amplify our efforts and still be able to move together as a unit? Because I do understand that you can go really fast by yourself, but we hit the distance when we run together. So I think it's interesting because early on in this industry, I didn't know which way was up. And I realized that through vulnerability actually came connectivity. See, a lot of times early on, in a lot of culture, especially when you're building an agency, I think people come at it like building relationships, that it's a top down mentality, almost manager versus leadership kind of approach. And I realized not only did I have a lot of other people on my team that were far better in not only production, building, just overall, I just had to let out my vulnerability. I was absolutely horrible at this. Here's a PowerPoint. Don't ever ask me to put one together. And I realized through these kind of vulnerabilities, actually, I found other people's strengths that way, because a lot of times that's what happens. We kind of put ourselves up as a leader up here and we think that we're good at all. And everyone on your team knows where your weakness is. I think that's something that will spot on. You'll tell a lot of people will find out right away, but you only find that out by trying to connect your team together. And there's a lot of different ways that you could do that.
Okay.
That's probably just number one.
one of the things that I loved, there was a point in time, I think it was last year, that the Wayland agency was growing very fast. And it was just like, where's all this growth coming from? And it was like, Ryan Miller is where all this growth is coming from. And I know, like, that probably even makes you uncomfortable to hear, because of what I'm about to lead into is, like, we were talking to you about, man, how are you finding this growth? And it struck me as like the wolf pack, right? Where the leader or the alpha wolf actually is in the back of the pack, protecting the people that are moving the slowest, and the strongest people are up front. And you were telling us back then, you were just like, man, what happens in insurance, all these people come in and you give all your attention to your top producers, and the people that are struggling and doing one application or two applications, or and you're like, no, I got to be back here with these people, lifting them up and pushing them up to the front of the pack. Like, where did that come from?
So it's interesting because I found out when I did our stats, 50% of our volume, which was 75% of our total writers, actually wrote lower than $15,000 in premium on a month. So if you take that statistic, 75% of the writers in our agency, which makes up 50% of our premium, wrote under 15,000. And now you got to think to yourself as a leader, well, am I just concentrating on the top quote unquote 20%. And what happens with the people that came in that doesn't have any kind of corporate background, that hasn't gone through the challenges, haven't gone through, because everyone gets caught up on this, who can do it faster. Well, Jim Larson said it best. I love his approach on this too. He's like, well, our journey actually started years ago in corporate America. Man, I had to go through understanding what a manager versus a leader was. Man, I struggled. Man, I lost top producers. Man, I lost people that had a good heart and they just haven't found their footing yet. What about those people? It's the idea of actually meeting people where they really are, not from where you see them to be, because that's a big stepping stone. Right away, we think just because you're a $40,000 producer, you're going to approach somebody that's never hit $8,000 in a month ever, going, hey, this is how many, this is what you have to do. And your approach is you're talking at them. You're literally not creating a safe environment for these people to actually find their footing, going, you know what, come with me. What action steps, what environments, what processes, how you as a leader are leveraging the environment for those people. Because here's the issue. The issue has is a top producer going, you know what? I don't have time to work with these people over here because it takes so much more time for me. And my answer to them is, you do have time. You do have time, because if all the leaders were actually creating an environment for those people, not just to engage with me, but to engage with other leaders, to engage with other people that are better at those particular skill sets, now you're talking about true leverage of a team and of a system. This wasn't the Ryan Miller show. This was the leveraging everyone on all their capacity, on all their availability, and all their possibilities, and leveraging what's good out there. And what's different for everyone. Some people are really bad at relationships. Some people are really bad at production. Some people are really bad at building. Some people can't find a schedule to save their life. Some people can't tie their shoes, but can write an app. So what kind of environment are leaders actually putting these people in? And I say putting because they have to be led first. We talk about balance here, but they gain that over time. Most people come from a W-2 mentality, have never been in a 1099 position, and they don't know which way's up. So if you let somebody who has never been a 1099 go, okay, guys, this is a schedule, and show up if you want to, that's not giving somebody an inside view and track going, here's where I need you to step. Why do you tell them, here's where I need you to go? Well, engineer people will go, oh my God, I need to see the entire playbook. I can't step there. What if I fall? And my answer is, I don't steal people's lessons, nor do I steal people's successes. And you got to create these environments in an agency. So not only the top people, which by the way, don't need tons of help. Those people are going to run like hell anyway. Or what happens if people that you want to give the best possible chance? And the only way I can give them the best possible chance is have everyone that's in the environment that can pour in collectively, because individually we don't have the time, collectively, where people can come in and grab what they need, what they feel like they need the time.
So, like, when you talk about the right people to invest in, because I
Sure.
know that's something that you're really good at. First of all, just how do you identify the people that are worth you investing your time into?
It's interesting. I know we hear this all the time. They identify themselves, but not what people think. Most people identify those people by results. I actually identify those people by the process, because process happens before results. So if somebody is actually doing the right things that create the right result, to me, that's stepping in the right position. So when I say step in the right position, yeah, they're on team calls. They're adding value on things like if we're doing book of the month, or as we do constantly, they're pouring into the team. They're actually posting their bad days. What do you mean, Ryan, posting their bad days? Because believe it or not, what most people get caught up on is they get into a pit of despair that's more than 2 days. And my cardinal rule is, if you're stuck in this pit of despair for more than 2 days, what connection or environment are you plugging into that's going to help you get out of it? And it could be one simple phone call with another leader. It could be sitting here listening to one morning call and heard one statement that resonated with you, and now you're out. Because I can tell you at those particular moments, if I see people on the right calls that are in the process before results, and if I see them doing those right things, then I'll engage. What do I mean by engage? Every conversation that I have or every call, I'm leaving people with assignments. So at the end of a call or an end of a session, I said, all right, guys, here's what I want you to do. And I'll give them an example of what I want to do. And it could be, hey, go chase your mirror. Like here we are at conference. Go chase your mirror. What do I mean by that? Most people have no idea. We talk about the insurance business, that the idea of putting a mirror in front of yourself, and man, you have no idea what kind of person that you really are, how bad or good you are until you face this. But now I ask people as a challenge, as an assignment, what's your mirror at conference? What thing are you going to chase? And I don't mean chase the me too, as in I'm struggling with leads or I'm struggling with production or I'm struggling with leadership. How about here's what I'm struggling with, and I'm going to seek the people that are amazing at it. This person does build unbelievably well. This person does have amazing person that comes into recruiting and then get somebody onboarded right away. They have a good nutrition rate. You know what? I have a crappy one. You know what? Me too. But I guarantee that person that's good, they had to start off as bad as me. Let me seek out that person. Me too. Not me too, as in I'm going to get in the crap. Not me too, as I feel sorry for myself, but I'm going to get caught up in a mirror or a person that I'm going to chase today that's going to make me a little damn better. That's what I mean by chasing, as an example of like giving an assignment to your team. And that's what I think people fail to miss on, is that early on in this business, I'm a collective of all the great leaders before me, and I'm literally regurgitating what they told me. I sat there and watched this and go, why did he say that? Why didn't you just tell him that? Well, maybe it's because that person wasn't ready to hear that message at that time. That was a difference of me attacking him versus me being with the person and having somebody come with me, not saying do this because I said to.
Well, and a big part of that is that you've created a culture where people know that you want something for them and not from them. And I think that's just a big thing that people need to get.
That was actually what I was going to ask. So, like, I have something to ask about. Like, okay, so you give me an assignment and then I don't do it. Are you reaching out to me, or are you waiting until it's like 4 weeks later and I come back and I'm like, oh, sorry,
It's interesting.
But there's one other thing I want to dive into, but I want to hear.
All right. So here's my answer is like, well, did you give up on me? Well, no, because here's the thing. All the environments, guys, this is why the environment's important. Why do you think you're supposed to have huddles? Why do you think you have these things? Because it's actually a thermostat. And it tells me that if people are engaged on these local calls and all of a sudden they don't show up for a couple of days, what is that an indicator to you as a leader? Something may be wrong. That's an indicator for me to actually reach out to the agent and ask them, hey, is something going on? How are you doing? Hey, I missed you on the huddle today. Just because, to me, that's an indicator number one. But if I give somebody an assignment, the question people ask is, how can I recruit at a mass level and not feel like I'm just burning people out? Well, remember, it's their business, not mine. Their success is theirs, not mine. It's not about how fast I think they should go. They determine how fast they go. So it's our job to actually lead them into the direction. So what do I, as an example, Ryan, okay, listen, I know you just handed me your schedule. I love it, and I love your schedule, Ryan. I love it. There's one thing that's missing on this. What's that? Where's your family anywhere on this? I see it's all symmetry. I see it's all work, man. Ryan, you have a family. You obviously do more than symmetry, right? And insurance. Well, I do. Okay. So this is what's important for me. I understand that this is time and money. And actually, to make sure that you stay clear from burnout, there needs to be a balance. In order to do that, here's what I want. I know this is schedule 1.0, but Ryan, I'm going to send you back. And this is the 2.0 schedule I want. The 2.0 schedule is, I don't need to know if you're taking the dog for a walk or you're going out for a date. Ryan, this is your schedule. This is for you, but I want you to put family time. If it's Sunday, if it's blocked, put family time. And Ryan, when you send that back to me, if I see blank space, that tells me, because my job is to fit this symmetry system in your schedule. So my job is to help you maximize your profitability and your time. In order to do that, I'm asking you, Ryan, I need another 2.0 schedule. Can I count on you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you send that back, we'll go ahead and set up another meeting and go and review it together. Now, what happens if they don't send it? I don't see them. And then what happens? I don't call them, but I see them on a huddle. And that gives me the indicator. So, oh my God, Ryan, I'm so glad you're here. I love this part of the book where we talk about how important schedules are. Ryan, you and I were just talking about that. Let's hear your takeaways on the chapter. Now, isn't that interesting? By doing that, I didn't call the person out. I actually called the person up because this is not about embarrassing people. This is about empowering people. There's such a difference. People don't understand that there is no such thing as perfection. The only way perfection exists is in imperfection. We're all imperfect, but I think we're perfect just the way we are. And I think we just have to learn to leverage each other. So the ability to use environments, to use assignments, to use these things so I can recruit max on a maximum level. I can do these reports. You send me a report every Sunday. This is one of the criteria. If you work with me on a weekly basis, you send me what went well, what didn't go well, what you plan on working on the following week, and all the metrics for numbers. Why do I say I want what went well, what didn't go well, and what you plan on working at? Well, you think numbers are it, but in between the lines is telling me what you think is important. What you think went really, really poor to me as a mentor was amazing because you're attaching it to results and I'm attaching it to the process. It gives me the indicator as a leader to take that moment to pour into that person, say, you know what? Grant, actually, I know you said you think you didn't do well, but let me tell you what I see when I look at these numbers. It's that moment right there. And you'll find out a lot of leaders, if they go back and they check with their leaders, difference between leading yourself, leading others, and leading leaders, a totally different psychology. When you get into that, to be able to sit with a leader and say, okay, now go over this conversation. How did you find the positives? Ryan, they had no appointments. Yeah, but they did 1,000 dials. And then not only did they do 1,000 dials, they did it again next week. They did it 3 weeks in a row. So how about where's the correction? Where's the positivity? Because all you're showing them is they got no results, but in fact, they're creating good habits that reach good results.
And you're finding the things to celebrate and you're lifting people up in the process. So as you're coaching through them, having them leave those coaching conversations feeling better than when they walk.
Yeah, and that it's a great transition. That's why I love doing this podcast, man. Because like we get people like Ryan Miller on, who's literally just ask one question and just keep going. I love it because we're sitting here as fans too, like taking this stuff in. Like, so when I think about some of the great leaders that I know in our industry, right, and I think of even in our company, some great leaders. When I think of like the personality that they lead with, so when I think of like Ebba Pritchett, I think of serious. When I think of Marshall Whalen, I think of relaxed. When I think of Brian Delaney, I think of inspirational. Right. When I think of Ryan Miller, I think of fun. Right. And so, and I want to know, like, why is fun so important to you?
Because I've had a lot of, it's funny, if you ever seen, if you really take that to heart, you'll see that I've actually gone through a lot of devastation in my life. And because of that, I know how I felt through those moments. And I think that everyone comes in, everyone has those days, those months, those weeks, and those seasons of life. And to me, if the person is leaving with encouragement and like I think about, like, if I had to deposit the feeling, if somebody left a conversation with me and they had to sit there and go, man, what can I do? Is it a deposit or is it a withdrawal? If you really think, is your conversations or is your environment or is your culture or is your leadership, is it a deposit or is it withdrawal? I'm not talking about carefitations. I'm not talking about accountability. I'm talking about how somebody actually feels. And to me, if you can come in with it as much fun as you possibly can, if you can make somebody laugh, if you can actually make fun of yourself in front of everyone else and feel strong enough to realize that you're comfortable with who you are and who you're becoming, because I think that's a big one. I think people are so worried about who they were. They're so scared of who they are that it actually affects who they're going to become.
Yeah.
And so, like, you create these environments of fun. I create these environments of having a blast. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot. We talk about the 5 voices, which is the number one book for me. If you're building an agency, Jeremy Kuperchak, I read that book 5 times a year. To be able to speak in other people's languages, meaning that what they respond to and how to deliver a message and still get what you're trying to get across there. And how do you do it fun? Some people don't want fun. Some people want damn serious. Some people just give me the numbers. And you know what? I'll give them the numbers. But overall, if you look at where most people are, most people, I know it's money is really important. I know this because it makes everything go around, but so is humanity, and so is relationships, and so is time. Like, I realize one thing we don't get back is time. So like, to me, at every experience is somebody leaving with a positive experience. And so when you think about fun, I don't know, how many times did somebody walk away from a fun experience go, man, that was a waste of time?
Yeah.
Maybe a small percentage, but not a lot.
Yeah. That's so powerful, man. You guys haven't checked out Ryan Miller. Got the largest collection of Disney shirts I think I've ever seen.
I know where we're now. I did have a bluey shirt on this morning. I
Just the
did.
largest
I did.
collection of Disney shirts, but that just stamps what you said in fun. I know Grant's got our kind of last topic here to close us out, so go for it, man.
Yeah, so I guess when you think about maybe advice to a newer agent and then maybe advice to a newer builder, you think about like how does somebody earn the time of a mentor, earn the time of someone they respect? And then I think of, you kind of answered a lot about if I am someone building a team, how do I maybe have some accountability for them? How do I lift them up? How do I like care about them? Like the fact that it's important to you to put family time in someone's calendar just shows the kind of culture that you're creating and how much you do care about people. And obviously I've seen that because we hang out all the time. But like, I guess just to go back to like a newer person, they're coming in, they're looking at these big agencies, they're looking at these people that speak on stage and they deliver so much impact. And they're like, how do I build a relationship with that person? You maybe talked about showing up on calls and you talked about you identify those things, but like, how does someone earn your time?
Okay, so it's interesting because I kind of forced my time on Rob. I literally was chasing on. I called him 15 times a day. So here's what I realized: if you're brand new and you're going, how I feel like I need to earn somebody's time, and if you ask any mentor, they're going to say, well, it's funny, those people always identify themselves. You know why? It's like if somebody have texted me and I had a really busy day and that person texts me again and I call them back and I go, why did you text me? And they go, I just want to make sure I'm on the top of your text list. Sometimes it's that ambition. So like when I call like the person that you want to chase, like remember when I got to my first conference, $100,000 in debt, $26 to my name, every credit card maxed out. Here's what I was chasing. I wasn't chasing suck. I was not chasing people that are completely broke because I was completely broke. That's not the Me Too I needed when I got here. I connected with the top 1%. I asked them questions like, okay, what's the one thing I could do? What's the one book I can read? Give me one piece of advice that's going to get me through the first 90 days because I knew I'm about to go through a new struggle. I went from corporate America to insurance. Guys, it's not, you're gonna be in that position where you've never done insurance before. So if you're brand new, how do you go earn time? Well, I tell you what, you show up, and I don't mean just on the calls. So like if you're on here, if in Symmetry or any other place somebody inspired you, go on Facebook. Send them an iMessage and saying, I really appreciate Grant, and Ryan, your awesome podcast. I really got a huge takeaway. Is there any way you can give me 5 minutes of your time? There's not, what is the worst you get? A no. But if you don't ask, it's definitely a no. So the question is, are we scared? Are we too scared to ask people that are in a better position for them to help you get better? And you'll find out 9 out of 10 times they actually do want to help. If you're the collective of 5 people close to you, what are the 5 biggest associations? New people out there, guess what your associations are? Your spouse, your family, and your friends. And how much insurance experience background do they have? So what's going to happen when you go through a challenge? What do you think they're going to say, Ryan? Whatever you do, don't do that. Pain and suffering. I don't want you to go through that. But what if you get yourself in a position where you put yourself in an environment, brand new people out there, you put yourself in an environment to hear the type of things that later on in life where you want to be. I want to change spots with them. I want that kind of income. I want that time and money. I'm going to have these kind of conversations. And at $100,000 in debt, I just want to get back to zero. So guess what? Those people, I'm not talking to people I'm talking to those people because I need to step into that version of myself. And I didn't know how the hell to do it. So the only way to do it is connect there. And what was your second part of your question, sir?
No, I think it's just like that everything that you want, somebody else has, and they're willing to give it to you.
Yeah.
That's it. Whatever you want, somebody else has it, and they're willing to hand it right to you on a silver platter if you're willing to take it. And when you talk about association, that's been so influential, like for me, and so important to get around the right people. Let's talk about, okay, your income's the sum of the 5 incomes around you, and you're the sum of the 5 close people. And like, you just kind of realize when you get around better people, you get better things. You learn how to treat people better. Other people treat you better. Like it's just kind of a system that keeps the whole system going.
And how the self-talk, the self-sabotage, brand new, you guys out there in insurance, right? And brand new, and most of the self-sabotaging and the self-talk, the self-negativity probably gets more people out of this industry than anything else. Why? Because you don't even know what's positive or not, because all you associate are results. And what I'm telling you is, if you start associating in a positive way and start looking for the positives, at least if you can't find it, connect with somebody that you know the verbiage. Grant, when you say you're having a bad day, if that your conversation with me, Ryan, in 3 seconds, we won't let it go more than 1 sentence deep, because all you're doing is you're either grabbing a shovel or you're grabbing more bricks to build something. And you can decide whatever you want to do. You're not going to bury yourself further. And most people that's successful are not going to sit there and hand you a shovel and go, yeah, more negativity. Yeah, you know what, Ryan? Let's be more negative. You know what? More debt. More, you know what? No, less structure, guys. Yeah, let's do that. No, most successful people are going to give you small things, small building blocks, small things that you could take, small little nuggets, because believe it or not, it's in the small habits that create huge results and huge change.
So mic drop, dude. I think with that, so much good stuff. Boom. So much good stuff. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for giving this to us. Thank you so much for creating a culture that I get to benefit from on a daily basis. And I'm just hoping to build an agency that follows in your overall agency's footsteps and, continues to take good care of people. So with that, everybody, that's going to do it for us. We are on every major platform in 4D, not 4D, right? We're in 2D, but we're working on 3D. We're working on getting you glasses, Oculus.
We will be 4D.
Yeah, so we're working on that, but we are on everything that you can do to watch your podcast everywhere, whether that's Apple, whether that's Spotify, whether that's YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.